Yeah, I reckon what they might do, if the rain gets a bit harder, I reckon they're going to stick the safety car out for sort of 5 or 6 laps just to suss out what the situation is. And if you think about it, that'd be a sensible thing to do, because I've noticed they've moved the safety car. That will be a lot more sensible than everybody coming in, because it doesn't look like it's going to be a massive downpour, because it's sort of passing over. So if they whack the safety car out, if it rains sort of 6 or 7 laps, then it's going to save a lot of people a lot of aggro.
Oh, look at this challenge for second position. Craig Lowndes coming right alongside number 5, Glenn Seaton in the FTR Falcon. So Lowndes really getting a move on now, putting lots of pressure on the Ford driver. And Seaton fighting a lone hand here. He's in second position. Tander's up ahead in another Commodore. He's got another Commodore breathing down his neck. And behind Lowndes is Richards, Murphy, Bargwanna, Faulkner, all in Commodores. Bow, the next Ford in line, back in 8th position. So Seaton is really fighting a lone hand here at the moment.
Bit of a flash of lightning and some thunder here around the streets of Adelaide. Thunder coming from the V8 Supercars, but also from the skies above. In 17th at the moment is Paul Radisich in the Shell Helix Ford. Now, he has been black flagged, or told to come in rather for a stop-go penalty for that altercation with Larry Perkins, but he's yet to do it. The team are radioing to him to tell him to come in for that stop-go, and we should see him in very shortly.
You can see that rain coming down. Barry Sheen said it may just move on. Garth Tander, though, continues to lead 2.3 seconds up the road from this battle. Seaton and Lowndes, Stephen Richards a little bit further back. That's Murphy, Bargwanna, Faulkner, and John Bow, the next of the Fords.
And it's Stephen Johnson, Tony Longhurst, Craig Baird and Mark Scape, Russell Ingle, Todd Kelly, McConville sitting well in 15th place, and Paul Morris in 16th.
Paul Radisich, Cameron McLean, Thomas Mazira, but watch Radisich. He's got to come in for a stop-go penalty soon. More after the break.
Traffic jam in the pits here as the Clipsal 500 finds yet another way to excite us. The rain has forced them in for wet tyres, all kinds of strategies and dramas into play. Greg Rust and Mark Osler.
Less than 12 cars came in, and they all keep filing in. Here's Garth Tander in action. Some wets being thrown on the Valvoline Cummins Commodore.
Craig Lowndes is still out there. I haven't seen him come into the pit yet. He's out there on slick tyres still. Everyone's gone for wets. So by the time we get this fold over, or the overlap, I should say, it's going to be a very interesting situation. Garth Tander, here comes Craig Lowndes now. But his tyre stopped. You can see the rain pelting down on the streets of Adelaide. We've actually got thunderclaps above us as a thunderstorm has hit. Wet tyres going onto Lowndes' car as well. You really, at the moment, you couldn't put anything but wets back on. It's getting quite slippery out there. Lap times pumped out 4 or 5 seconds before the car started coming in. How long is this rain going to last? The sky looks a bit patchy. It could just be a big cloud hanging over the track right at the moment. In 5 laps, it could be dry again. Who knows?
Now, Garth Tander has gotten in front of him courtesy of that pit stop. Look at Lowndes sideways through the centre chicane on wets, but Tander is ahead of him. So Tander retains the lead on the ice rink.
Oh, look at how difficult it is to get that car to turn into the corner. These tyres are stone cold. You're not allowed to use tyre warmers in V8 Supercar racing. The track temperature has come right down with the rain, and look at him struggling with that, trying to get the power to the ground. Shell Helix replayers, Gary Holt, one of the Konica V8 light privateers.
This is where Mark Scape went off last year. Bang.
Well, I wonder if they're going to... I don't know whether he's been able to back out of there. Here's a classic example of a slick tyre being run in wet conditions. And now they want to put one of these fully grooved wet weather tyres onto the car, just like the road tyres you have on your road car. They work with the same system, those big grooves there. Push all the water away and give you some grip. You could not go to anything but that fully grooved tyre in these conditions. Mark Larkham rejoins the battle.
Now the drivers are being told to put their red safety lights on inside the car. They're the rear ones.
Another Shell Helix replay where you can imagine the drama out here. Look at the Gatorade car. Peter Dillman understeering straight off at speed stick turn. The tyres. Fortunately, looks like minimal damage. Hopefully, he got back to the pits. But very, very treacherous conditions out there at the moment. These cars are on cold, wet weather tyres. The track's quite cold as well, so it takes a few laps to try and get some sort of temperature into them. When you're talking about 600 horsepower through the rear wheels, a car that weighs 1,350 kilograms, it's not very responsive to steering input. Look at Tander still wrestling with this car.
had a moment there.
Now, I just wonder if they're going to call the safety car out soon. These conditions getting very, very heavy. If they've been asked to switch on their rear red warning lights, there's a good shot of the visibility lights.
That's at the front of the Kmart Commodore of Greg Murphy's. How can he see?
Well, that's on the, admittedly, that's on the side where the windscreen wiper isn't operative, but the red lights are on the backs of the cars. You can just see it there on the back of Lowndes' car. It's a very powerful beam which can shine through this mist and spray, and it warns the driver behind that they are approaching. It's been a good addition to the safety aspects of these cars. Barry Sheen.
Yeah, there's a bit of a touch there. Yeah, I'm just apparently a lot of the drivers are saying the visibility is diabolical, and you can see there the surface wall to the HRT cars coming down there. You remember in the Formula One, Adelaide never did drain too well, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if they did stick the safety car out. You know, as you can tell by my weather forecasting, I'll never get a job at that, will I? But the visibility is really pretty bad.
Unfortunately, these days, the V8 Supercars have a heated front windscreen. You can just see the little elements in the glass there on the Mitre 10 car. They discovered this problem at Bathurst several years ago before they ran these heated screens. The water was pouring inside the cars. As we know, the floor pan of the car gets very hot. So it was effectively like sitting inside a kettle. There was so much steam coming up, it was fogging up all the windows. So as a safety precaution, the teams now run heated front and rear windscreens. But look at the difficulty Paul Radicic is having. You can just see what a tough assignment it is, trying to get 600 horsepower to the ground through cold tires, trying to get the car to turn into the corners, equally tough.
Now, Russell Ingall, for those of you who have been keeping an eye on the progress of some of the guys who started from the back up to 10th place, Mark Scavers moved up to 8th place. So there are some real shakers and movers in this field at the moment in the wet conditions around Adelaide.
Look at the pools and puddles around there, Rusty. This is like a swimming pool at the moment.
Cast your mind back many years ago in the old F1 days here, and scenes of the late great Eden Senna waving madly, trying to bring one of the races to a halt because it was just like this, an absolute deluge of water. Radicic is apparently radioing to his pit. We've been able to overhear some of the conversations between Paul and team manager Dean Orr, and he's been saying that he cannot see a thing. Here's a shot of the Rad in action.
Barry Holt, we just saw him crunch into the tyres. Turn 12 a couple of laps ago. He's just trying to limp around. Oh, Radicic gives him a tap as well. Holt right up the middle of the road. Radicic wants to keep things moving. Holt just getting hit by that. There's the colour scan Falcon of Matthew Coleman. He's gone exactly where Holt went. So there's cars spearing off all over the place. I wonder what race officials are going to do under this situation. Let's have a look at that.
Now, that's a big no-no by the looks of things. He's gotten up on the curbs and then understeered. Straight off Faulkner's gone off as well.
Too. Now, I wonder if Faulkner managed to get out of there. I think he's pulled it up before the kiddie litter. But he's managed to hopefully reverse it back onto the track. Barry.
There's so much surface water now. I feel they've got to bring the safety car out, because now, you know, guys have gone out on wets. They're struggling to get any sort of temperature in there. And if you look at the circuit, the surface water is really, it gets to the stage where it's not braveness, it's stupidity, you know, because you just can't see where you're going, and all of a sudden you're flat out down the straight and the thing just turns around in the middle of the straight. So I feel they should really put the safety car out.
Now, the interesting thing, Baz, we just heard from the Shell pit that Radicic has radioed in and said, are you sure you put...
There you go.
Are you sure you put wet weather tyres? It feels like
exactly.
slicks.
Well, you can't get any temperature in them. You know, you're sort of turning the thing in, scrubbing it in at the front, and all it does is just go straight on an understeer.
All the racing team is probably going to get their compulsory fuel stop out of the way. Only about 180 litres needed, so they'll just put the minimum amount of fuel required to get this car to the finish. Jeff Grett, team manager there, watching the stop, making sure he gets out nice and cleanly. The safety car is standing by. Yellow flags are out.
Yellow.
Safety car will be on the circuit.
Still sitting at the end of pit lane at the moment. Mark Scaife now coming in. Now, this is probably quite a good tactical move from the Holden Racing team. They're completing both their stops so that if it does clear up here at Adelaide, they've got to come in for another tyre stop. At least their mandatory stops have been completed.
Okay, they are going to bring the safety car out on the track. He's just sitting at the end of pit lane here, waiting for the leader to come through. He'll pick up the leader and get the cars to form an orderly queue behind. You can just see Mark Scaife driving out. The safety car is just sitting in on the exit to pit lane. Now, it looks like the rain has actually backed off a little bit. It was a real deluge, like a big dark cloud came right over Adelaide and just dumped it all in one hit. hopefully that crowd will move on and we can get back to some racing. Another replay. Shell Helix replay. Radicic. Wow, he was just saying he couldn't believe they put wet weather tyres. They feel still like slicks. It's so slippery out there. And there's the proof of the pudding. Let's hope the rat kept it off the walls. Yes, indeed. So let's go to Barry again.
Yeah, you see there, Ingle just coming out of the pits. He came in simply just to have the windscreen cleaned on the inside. You know, it was really misted up very badly, and I shouldn't think he could see where he was going at all, you know, so I don't know whether he's got a problem with his electric screen, but as you were saying, the temperature in there, it produces a lot of steam, and it's not a nice thing. Look at the surface water there. At last.
The Monroe safety car. Severe thunderstorms and flooding is the official forecast from the Weather Bureau, so this may be the first of a long line of downpours.
Well, at least they got it right for a change.
Look at the damage to the front of the Greenfield Mowers Falcon in behind the safety car there, so Cameron McLean has had a moment as well.
Well,
just have a look as it all slows down, the puddles across the circuit, and you know, especially you get one of those when you're on the brakes just as you're about to turn into the corner. It just starts the thing understeering, and then once it starts you can't stop it, so it's a wise move to put the car out, safety car.
Yeah, exactly. So the Monroe safety car.
And what it's done now, the guys have just got some temperature into their wets, and now they're following around the safety car, so they lose all the temperature again. But there you go.
Grant?
I feel like a Dodgem car, but lucky I'm not, because I would have been electrocuted by now. I can tell you, Rodney Forbes has parked the car because he doesn't have a working windscreen wiper. It hasn't worked all weekend because of an earlier shunt during the weekend. Now, he's been coping up until now, but he just says, no, I can't cope anymore, I can't see. They're coming in and they're now working on it, so that's unfortunate.
Glad you remembered your rain jacket there, Grant.
I wish.
It's been a busy weekend for the Winds Commodore team. They had an engine change this morning after a blow-up in the practice session, and Rodney was unfortunately involved in an altercation with Greg Murphy in the other Gibson Motorsport Commodore, but that one, of course, with the Kmart livery, and Murphy was slugged with a 10-point fine because of that altercation overnight, and they've had a lot of work to do to the Winds Commodore, and it's lucky to be here racing today. They worked until 3 a.m. in the morning.
Safety car pulls offline. He's letting the field come through. He went waiting for our race leader, Garth Tander, to come up and be the first car in the queue. And they're a hardy bunch, these V8 Supercar fans. Rain's not going to put them off. They come prepared for anything.
Here we go, folks. We'll run right through the field for you as the rain continues to fall on the streets of Adelaide. Tander from Bargwana, the two teammates top of the table. Then it's Murphy, Lowndes, Seaton, Bow, Stephen Johnson, and Mark Scape is now from the back of the grid up into 8th place.
Yeah, good charge by the Holden Racing team driver, Tony Longhurst, John Faulkner, Craig Baird, gone down a lap, Stephen Richards, Russell Engel, Cameron McLean, Cameron McConville, and Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford.
Trevor Ashby, Paul Radicic still there in 18th place, car 18, despite its spin. Neil Crompton in 19th, and it's Perkins, Wheel, Todd Kelly, Mick Donoher in the Ultra-Tune CDK Racing Commodore, and Anthony Tratt.
Thomas Mazira, Dean Canto, one of the Konica V8 Lights competitors, Paul Morris, Peter Dillman, Dougal McDougall, Chris Smurden, Alan Heath, and Gary Holt a long way down.
Rodney Forbes in the garage. Matthew Coleman has been involved in a spin. Wayne Wakefield is out of today's action here in Adelaide. Trust you're enjoying the action. Stay with us.